We will start with our first presentation by Stan Valensis.
I'm Stan Valensis. I'm president of Acsys Interactive. We're a digital agency that serves 5 core industries with a national audience. Our 2 largest verticals are financial services and healthcare. While they're different audiences, there's a commonality in terms of audience need and the growing importance of social. The information they gain from the internet can have a profound effect on the quality of their lives, whether it's making for their financial future or the well-being of themselves and their family. Why is social important? In 2007, Nielsen reports that 78% of people say customer recommendations are the most credible form of advertising. You'll hear the phrase, people like me. That means they tend to believe more readily to accept what's being stated in social channels versus traditional messages and advertisement. While recommendations are nothing new, the ability to mass market them so easily is. Our clients are turning to social media to bring their brands, attract new customers, obtain feedback, and help people in healthcare decisions. Customers are taking a more integral role in their medical treatments. They turn to social as a means to collect information, get knowledgeable, understand their options, and learn from people like me. The provider segment is who we're talking about today. This is the intersection of device, pharma, payers, providers, and the healthcare continuum as it exists to help people. It's where the rubber hits the road and policy impacts lives. While we'll be sharing the perspectives of healthcare professionals today, the person we'd like to make sure gets heard is the end consumer who can benefit and potentially be hurt by what they learn in social media. Utilization is still in the early adopter phase, but growing rapidly. Social becoming a bigger part of the hospital marketing mix, primarily for public communications. They're using Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, blogs, and other social channels to distribute news, videos, and other activities. Some of the more advanced clients are using it as a listening and information gathering platform and proactively responding to feedback, whether negative or positive. And this feedback, good or bad, needs to be encouraged. This medium appeals to both consumers and medical professionals as a source of information. It's just a start. The genie is out of the bottle, and its usage will only grow. The next slide shows a comparison of U.S. versus Europe. This slide shows different classifications of people who participate in social media. And someone mentioned this earlier in the day. There's people who watch and people who create. We invited surgeons to share their point of view. It was surprising to find a large amount of them were not using social media for researching regulated medical products, but those that do, 85% are being influenced by what they find online. We asked their point of view on sponsored open online communities to discuss disease states. The vast majority of PCPs and most surgeons were positive, as long as moderation of postings were clearly identified. Health professionals who are looking for a means to communicate their experience, questions, and concerns about treatment options want to share ideas with other healthcare professionals. They want to talk to each other, share thoughts, opinions, and options on breakthrough medicine, obscure conditions, or the latest medical devices. They feel these private communities, while they have a social orientation, should be treated differently than a consumer channel, and product marketing should be in accordance with ACCME guidelines. The biggest obstacles we hear center on transparency, liability, and best practices. So these are some examples of what some of the early adopters are using. Here's slides on how Twitter is used to disseminate information to students, patients, and peers. You're seeing here real-life use of social medium as a means to improve healthcare delivery. Several of the Twitter surgeries included special use of medical devices, most notably the Da Vinci robot, and I'm, as a plug, I'm not a paid spokesman for Da Vinci. But while medical device manufacturers did not have a role in sponsoring these events, our recommendation is that U.S. manufacturer websites, U.S. device manufacturers, should be able to permit to this linked content, this linked user-generated content in totality, as long as they are presented by a JCO affiliated hospital and are not off-label use of the device or product. NIH, National Library of Medicine, has established the same precedent for external video content that they publish on the MedlinePlus.gov website. Establishing this policy can help ensure that evidence-based medical practices are followed. Video is becoming widespread in marketing and as a teaching tool. It's just another piece of information, and the concern here is fidelity and authenticity. The FDA has existing regulations pertaining to broadcast television commercials and regulated medical products. Our recommendation is these guidelines should be used for social media videos as developed by marketers and manufacturers. This is a dense slide, but I'll try to hit the high points here. We take the position that manufacturers of the device should not be accountable for the postings of unaffiliated third-party persons, especially as there are few options to stop, comment, or alter a misguided or misleading opinion. This is a free society, and it would place undue burden and hardship to monitor and manage every conversation in the world. That said, transparency is key, and any affiliations need to be disclosed between parties. In this case, in many cases, the wheel does not need to be reinvented, and the regulations in place for promotions of regulated medical products are quite often transferable to social with modifications. Being consistent in policy is also important by making sure that you have consistent rules over consistent mediums and not weighing one channel over another. This could cause confusion, delays, and potentially conflicting information. And one final comment, social is really a one-on-one conversation. While it can be seen by many and commented, the point is it's an intimate channel, and over-regulation would potentially stifle those conversations. More on linking. It's not just the social channel itself that needs to be addressed. It's how people find and learn about what's out there. And the number one pathway is search, but banners, affiliate marketing, and other means to generate awareness must be addressed. The first page you go to in the search is the first page in search is often the primary page that you go to. You must allow the ability for qualified information to fill the gap that can be left by others with ulterior motives. At the risk of oversimplification, there are two basic camps. There are those who try to make a profit, and there's people. They're the same people, but they can be different motives. How to differentiate the two online is a challenge. One approach to consider is what has long been done in the e-commerce world, with the use of SSL certificates to establish authenticity of regulated content. In the transaction world, when someone sees the lock in their browser, there's a reasonable certainty that their information is safe. While links need to be disclosed, just relying on an FDA seal of approval or link disclosure potentially means an unscrupulous person could be posing as a reputable one, leading to further confusion to the public. Let people post and comment freely. As the public, I can decide whether I want to take advice from someone in a blog or the person next to me in the subway. However, using these certificates might help ensure that data and information linked from these public comments have a higher degree of validity. In conclusion, social media is here, and it can be helpful to people trying to get and stay healthy and who want to know what options exist and to keep up with changes. Social is becoming part of a large mix and integral to patients becoming proactive in their health treatments. What would make everyone's job easier are clearer rules, best practice examples, and proper parameters around liability and disclosures to level the playing field and to help ensure ethics are being upheld. An interesting comment we heard is to suggest the FDA continue to partner with the community. Technology is changing quickly and needs to be reacted to quickly. Responsible people aren't fair of doing something wrong and the FDA coming down hard on them. Irresponsible people see this as a window of opportunity. So moving forward, please consider how policies can develop and communities partnered with. I began by mentioning that the folks that ultimately can be helped or hurt by what they find in socials is the end consumer. Whether caring for themselves, their children, or parents, the right balance needs to be struck. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Questions from FDA panel members? Thank you, Ms. Valensis.